We all know Vampire Survivors, right? You know, the bullet hell-esque survival game that got thrown into early access last year, and since then it's spawned a plethora of whatever that genre is. They're basically the same game with different items and graphics. Oh, if you know me, I made a video talking about Vampire Survivors and how it may be the best game on Steam in terms of reviews and price for hours of entertainment. And even today, that's still true. It's an amazing game. But recently, for me, I started playing a new bullet hell-esque survival game that's kind of like Vampire Survivors, and it's 20 minutes till dawn. Listen, I've only played a few of these types of games, and I enjoy all of them. They all offer an endless amount of content, it seems, and always for a cheap price. Both Vampire Survivors and 20 minutes till dawn are about $4 on Steam, and both do whatever this genre is so well. But to me, 20 minutes till dawn might be a better game than Vampire Survivors, and for good reason. Obviously not as popular, but it could be better. I'm gonna compare both of these games in a few different categories like difficulty enhancers, gameplay, item variety, and then we'll have the miscellaneous stuff like characters, maps, music, all of that stuff. And then at the end of the video, we'll have a verdict of which game is better, in my opinion. So just remember, this is my opinion of which game I think is better. Both are great, but there's gotta be a better one. So let's get into it. Don't take it too seriously. But before we jump into the comparisons, let's look at the creators of 20 Minutes Till Dawn. We don't need to look at the Vampire Survivors creators, as if you watched my other video, we already know everything about them. 20 Minutes Till Dawn was released on June 8th of 2022 by the developer named Flanny, who does have another game coming soon to Steam called Spirit Link Tactics, which is a story-driven tactical turn-based RPG with some very cute pixelated graphics. Now I'll say, these games aren't really my style, but I'll say this game looks very promising, and it looks like Flanny, the developer, works very hard on all the games that he makes. Well, 20 Minutes Till Dawn had 600,000 Steam players in its first month and 800,000 mobile testers. Yeah, the game's available on mobile phones for a solid $3. These games are crazy. 20 Minutes Till Dawn also had a beta version called 10 Minutes Till Dawn, which was basically the same game, but available via web browser on crazygames.com. But really, that's the creator. Not much else to say. A solo developer making a great game? It seems to happen a lot in this industry now, which is amazing. But is this game better than Vampire Survivors? Well, let's discuss it. Let's first talk about gameplay, which, to be honest, they're pretty similar. Vampire Survivors, you try to survive for 30 minutes compared to 20 minutes till dawn, you try to survive for, well, you know, 20 minutes. Each game has a faster mode that cuts the time in half, and 20 Minutes Till Dawn even has an endless mode. I don't think Vampire Survivors has an endless mode, but I'm not sure. I haven't played in a couple months. Yeah, keep that in mind. In terms of core gameplay in a run, both games are very similar. You start with a character and a weapon, and you kill enemies. The longer the run is, the stronger the enemies become. And enemies also drop XP, and every level up you can upgrade your character. It's simple things, really. Personally, for me, I enjoy 20 Minutes Till Dawn more in terms of gameplay because you have more control over where you aim, which makes it a little harder. And really, the end game also feels a lot harder compared to Vampire Survivors. I felt Vampire Survivors, it was much easier to achieve a totally busted run that has you sitting AFK for 8 minutes. Granted, you can still get a pretty busted run in 20 Minutes Till Dawn. I just feel it's a little harder to achieve. Really, I don't think there's much to compare with gameplay, as they're both very similar because they're both bullet hell-esque survival games. The main difference is items and characters and whatnot. The core gameplay is very similar. I guess one thing you could say is 20 Minutes Until Dawn is easier on streamers, because at the end of a game in Vampire Survivors, your bitrate tanks because of how much action is on the screen. But really, they both deserve the praise. Let's go on to the next subject. I could have talked about starting weapons and characters and gameplay, but I felt that that subject would have fit better with item variety when we compared those two differences. 20 Minutes Till Dawn has 7 different characters and 7 different weapons you can start with, and each one you unlock with in-game currency called souls, which you get after every run. After a few hours, you can unlock all of them, but every character starts with their own benefits, such as extra health or lightning striking down an enemy every 2 shots. And all the guns do different damage, fire rate, and ammo capacity. Compared to Vampire Survivors, where you have almost 30 characters that each start with their own weapon and have different stats. Of course, the variety in Vampire Survivors is better with all these characters, but it's still very fun being able to pick up different guns with different characters in 20 Minutes Until Dawn. But still, in Vampire Survivors, you can get any weapons you want with the way the upgrading system works in the run. You can easily give Vampire Survivors the point for more variety in the characters, but is it really a competition at this point? Kind of. It's fun to compare them, okay? Let's moving on. But what about inside of a run? Well, all the weapons and upgrades and whatnot are acquired after every level, which, by the way, Vampire Survivors is much easier to level up. I'm usually level 80 at the end of those runs compared to level 30 on 20 Minutes Till Dawn. But in Vampire Survivors, you can have 6 weapons and 6 upgrade items that all go to level 8 or so. For base weapons in the game, there's 29, with 20 of them being able to evolve via synergies with items. And then in 20 Minutes Till Dawn, you don't technically have any items or weapons besides your starting one, but every level you either upgrade your character with movement speed, vision, or getting something like a shield, or you could upgrade your gun with damage, bullet speed, you know, usual things. A very fun thing in 20 minutes till dawn is one upgrade called summons, which are little friends that follow you around the entire run. The summons also can be upgraded and stack very well together with damage. They're fun to acquire, and just like Vampire Survivors, 20 minutes till dawn also has synergies that you can get after upgrading a certain thing enough. Both of these games inside of a run have a lot of items and a lot of variety, and they both do it very well, probably the best games in this genre. But the last most important thing is the stuff outside of a run. Outside of a run, it allows you to upgrade your characters to buff them during runs. Both of these games have a unique system, and I feel the system Vampire Survivors has is much easier to understand and makes the game easier as a whole. You get gold in your runs and upgrade your character with it. You can upgrade basically everything. You know this already. It was in my video on the game. But what about 20 minutes till dawn? Well, it's kind of the same, except it has 2 different sections, each with 3 levels, and within those 3 levels are 3 options to upgrade from. It's easier to see in the video than explain it, but if one of these levels is fully upgraded, you can unlock one of the higher tiers, and you can only have 1 equipped from each tier for every run, which allows you to have 6 bonuses total, which is a lot less compared to Vampire Survivors. I feel like the way I just said it makes 0 sense at all, but trust me, watching it on the screen makes it much easier. But the way it works, it makes you plan your run out a lot more and allow for a lot more possibility if you really want it. It's not really a competition, but I feel like Vampire Survivors stands out a lot more with item variety and the upgrade system. It's a lot easier to understand compared to 20 minutes till dawn. With that said, I still think 20 minutes till dawn is a harder game to master. Really, it's all about getting good synergies and whatnot. But 20 minutes till dawn is a lot harder, and I still am not fully aware of everything that happens in the game. I haven't played it as much as Vampire Survivors, but I do know it's a lot of fun. Items are probably the biggest thing to discuss in this video, and probably the longest subject that we will talk about. But what's almost equally as important as items, but will take a lot less time to discuss? Well, difficulty enhancers, of course. Vampire Survivors is pretty simple in this regard, I feel. I haven't played the game in a couple months, like I said, so maybe I'm a little outdated, but when I last played it, it had about 7 levels total, and some were harder than others, but each level had different modes to make it harder, or faster. The levels themselves had different difficulty as well. Simple and straight to the point, really. And 20 minutes till dawn does this better to an extent. I'll give Vampire Survivors credit. They have more levels compared to the one generic level that 20 minutes till dawn has, which will bring down replayability, but 20 minutes till dawn still has a better difficulty enhancer with the thing called Darkness. If you clear the game, you unlock Darkness 1, which makes more enemies spawn. And if you clear Darkness 1, you unlock Darkness 2, which will add even more difficulty. And eventually you make it up to Darkness 15, which I'm not sure what it adds, but I imagine it can't be easy. Difficulty enhancers are one of the most important things in a roguelike, in my opinion, to add replayability to a game. But it's super easy to discuss. I think 20 minutes till dawn does it better with the Darkness option, but you have to give Vampire Survivors credit where it's due with the different maps that they have compared to 20 minutes till dawn. But both great games, but 20 minutes till dawn wins this fight. I was going to talk about characters as a whole, but I feel that's been discussed well enough with gameplay and items. Really, those are the 3 main selling points for a game like this, and they both do a phenomenal job at doing it, and for a cheap price. There's still a lot of small miscellaneous things we could discuss, and I'll quickly just go over which game I think has better versions of whatever. Music goes to Vampire Survivors. That music is much more memorable. Next, story. To be honest, don't know the story for either of these games, nor do I care. Graphics can be next, which isn't too important, but personally, I'm a fan of 20 minutes till dawn graphics more. Next is accessibility. Really, I think this is an easy one, and that's 20 minutes till dawn. It being available on mobile allows me to play it anytime, anywhere, whenever I want. If I want to spend $3 more, of course. Vampire Survivors is available on Xbox with Game Pass on PC, and it may branch out more once it's out of early access, but for now, 20 minutes till dawn is easily more accessible if you don't have something like a Steam Deck, which I definitely don't have. Really, what more do you want to know? We covered gameplay, items, difficulty, a few small things. Both games have their ups and downs. When I play either of these games, I find myself enjoying every run and trying so hard to think of how to have the best run I can get. Like I've said multiple times in this video, it's not a competition to be the best of whatever genre this is, but 20 minutes till dawn I feel deserves a lot more praise for what it is. A tough, fun, easy to pick up, bullet hell-esque survival game that may be better than Vampire Survivors. Or it's not better. Really, you can decide. I appreciate you listening to my reasons on why one game is better in different aspects, but that's all my opinion. Really, I enjoy both of these games, and I'm glad they've had great success. Obviously, Vampire Survivors has had a lot more success, but when people see these games, they just think a Vampire Survivors clone. Whatever. And sure, some of them may be not so good, but some of them, like 20 minutes till dawn, could be masterpieces in the genre. What a great time to be a gamer. Thanks for watching this video, I guess. This was a fun one to make. I thought about this one for a while and how I should go about it, and I thought this was the best way to do it. I appreciate the support as always, and a big shout out to the people that support me on Patreon as always. Thank you for your patience while I make all these videos. I'm just one guy trying to do this all myself, but I appreciate the support on Twitch, Patreon, and of course, here. I'll see you next time.